To the J.D. Lewis Senior Citizens Board. I'd like a motion to approve Mr. Marable. He's replacing Miss Effie Finch, who passed away. Frenchman. Who made the motion? Is there a second? And Joey seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion does carry. Next, we have a resolution for us where we'll apply for what they call a CDBG, or Community Development Block Grant, for $427,500 to extend water lines out in the county with the City of Erin. The City of Erin will come up with a match. I'd like a motion to approve this resolution. Motion is made. Is there a second? And seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. Homeland Security Grant for $1,750. This is a grant that we get every year. Dave, I was asked, what is this actual money for?
It's what's called the Citizen Court Program, which is to provide the community with citizens able to respond and need-based training program trying to be going this summer, and it's money simply to support that. The reason I think
it's strictly from Homeland Security, and we've been getting it for a couple of years, haven't we?
Well, about 5 or 6, I think, all together.
Yeah.
So do you use that money to have teaching seminars of some sort to the citizens or the churches or whatever, or what?
That can be part of it. A lot was gone for law enforcement this last few years. I've been using some to bring us up on emergency management before we're able to go forward.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Oh, do we have a motion and a second? Do I have a motion? Have a second? And a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. Next, you have an appraisal contract with Infical Realty Resources. This is the company that's doing the appraisal at the hospital. This is a contract that we have with them. They've already been up there and they're working on that appraisal right now. I'd like a motion to approve this contract. Motion is made. Is there a second? And seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry.
George, did you know the status of that at this point?
When the gentleman went up there, and his name was Jack Bass, he was up there probably a half a day, and then I met with him and we discussed it, and he told me it'd probably take him about 2 weeks to get 2 to 3 weeks at the longest to get the appraisal done, and he was up there last week, so he's working on that appraisal. I gave him a lot of information before he left, some of the things that he asked for, and I had them already in a file, so we gave him that information, and hopefully that'll speed it up, because we need to get that appraisal as soon as we can. Any other discussion? We had a phone conversation with the people in Washington last week. It was more of a procedural type phone call, and they instructed us on some of the things that we were going to have to do in regards to that critical access number. So that's still in working, okay? And our attorneys are working on that right now in Nashville. Any other questions? We have a motion and a second.
No, you're on now to your next item. You done adopted number 5.
Okay, number
6.
So we did.
You got number 5.
Okay. The next we have Faith Lane, petition for road acceptance and certification. This went to our highway committee, and I think, Larry, you're the chairman of that. The recommendation of the highway committee was?
Yeah, the petition was turned in. We found that it met all the obligations. We voted to accept Faith Lane as a Class 2 road, and I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Motion is made and seconded. Any other discussion? I think the highway superintendent also recommended that. So is that not right, Mr. Phelps? Okay. Motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. Next, you have your county road list. This is every year the highway superintendent has to turn in a road list for Houston County, and this is the official county road list. I'd like a motion to approve the Houston County road list. Motion is made. Is there a second? Is there and second? Any discussion on this?
I have a question to
Sure.
our highway department. If the road is not on this list, do you ever put up road signs naming the name of the path or the trail or whatever?
Sometimes we do.
And then why do we do that? I mean, I don't understand why we would do that.
For 911 addresses, cemetery roads, and that kind of stuff.
Well, so if there's a road that's not on this list, who sets the addresses and for that road? The post office on a road that doesn't have a name? Or has, I mean, I don't quite understand why we put up signs for non-public paths or ruts or whatever.
A lot of, I sometimes we put them up, like I say, for cemetery roads and for people who live back off the road and for a 911 address. Or not an address, just a 911, something for 911 that's trying to have to.
911 would assign the number, as far as your addressing number. Of course, they work also with the post office in regards to it. And even though it may not be a county road, it can still have a name, and it probably does have a name on the 911's listing up there. And of course, you know the purpose of that, George, so that they...
A lot of those roads or paths or whatever you want to call them, one person calls this name and another person calls it another name. You got, if you go from this way to, this is on public road, but you go from here to Waverly, they call it Waverly Road. If you go from Waverly to here, they call it Tennessee Ridge Road. And so if you have these kinds of situations, it just doesn't, it seems to me like it either needs to be formalized as a road or we need to find a better way to do it because, down in my end of the county in District 1, we've had occasions where they can't find a particular address, and the reason is because there's paths there, and it's not part of the road system, so they don't know about it, whoever's driving the ambulance or the fire department or whatever. And so it seems to me that the people that live on that path or non-public road need to put up signage themselves and pay for it themselves, and not go at the county's expense to do that. And I think that they should be, made to, if they want to be participating in this county and to the fire department and to the emergency road, they need to have their name and their address right on the beginning of that drive or some such thing at their own expense. I just don't think we should be putting up signs just for the sake of that, because it can be misinterpreted all the time. It's not an official name. In AD Lane from one person is called CD Lane from somebody else. And so I think we need to formalize it so that it's altered, so that these paths become either county roads or that the people put up signs so that they alert these people where they are. Thank you.
The only comment that I'll make to that is that 911 probably does have a name assigned to that path or that road of some sort. And of course then, because they've got to know that address going down through there. Now, is that really the official name? I can't tell you. I don't know. But I would say that if you look at the official 911 map, it's going to have a name assigned to it. Even though it's not a county road, it's still going to have a name assigned to it. Now, what that name would be, George, I can't tell you. We'd have to look at their map and see. And then whether the individual knows that that's the name that the 911 people have on it or not, that's another question. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, right. They could call it something else versus what the 911. But the map that we would use would be whatever the official 911 map is. Whatever that map is,
But
that's,
people that live on
yeah.
that path, a lot of times aren't aware of what that's really,
Sure.
what's the name of it. And so, if they have an emergency and they call, nobody has a clue where they are.
I would think it would be the responsibility of that person to get with 911 and see how they have that road listed and the name that they have on it. I mean, because I'm sure there's, in your area, you know, there are probably several small path roads down there. And but there's no way for us to know each individual. So you have to put a little, you know, some responsibility back on that homeowner to make them or have them talk to the 911 people to find out how that road would be named, so that they can, if and when they do have an emergency, they can use the proper name. Anything else in regards to the road? We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the county road list? Opposed? Motion does carry. Excuse me. Next, you have a resolution and a capital outlay note for Highway Department to purchase 3 trucks. This is a 10-year note in regards to approximately $250,000. I'd like a motion to approve the capital outlay note and resolution to purchase some trucks at the Highway Department. Motion's made. Is there a second? And second. Any discussion?
There's a lot of surplus equipment that is actually just donated to various municipalities, counties, etc. Is there not, does anybody even look at these lists to replace a dump truck or something? And a lot of these vehicles only have 20,000 miles on them, and they're literally given to you. I mean, the sheriff's department has gotten stuff for nothing. I'm just wondering if we're looking too short-sighted. Let's just go down to the dealer and buy a truck where it's not researched. It seems to me like something like that should be researched a little more thoroughly than just say, let's go buy a new truck. Anyway, I think
In regards to the surplus property, the sheriff has got a bunch of that, but only the sheriff's department can get it. Isn't that right? No other department can really get it. It has to be the sheriff getting it, and then he can, if he gets it, then he can give it to a department or work with a department on it. But the highway superintendent can't apply for it. They won't allow, and neither can the fire department, because we've tried to get stuff through the fire department. They can't. It has to be.
well, it doesn't matter what path you take.
No, I'm just saying, yes.
That's over the hill,
Right.
Across the pond, but at least you've accomplished the same thing in getting a relatively inexpensive, vehicle.
Sure.
So it seems to me like they should coordinate that among themselves, the sheriff, for instance, and the highway department. You should go to the sheriff and say, hey, what do you see here? What do you got? And then go from there before you go out, let's go buy a new truck.
Didn't you just recently get a new semi?
I did. But thanks to the sheriff,
Yeah.
sheriff department, that sold it for $35,000. They let the highway department have it. But I cannot get it. It has to come through the sheriff's department. The trucks that we're replacing are 15 years old. If somebody gets killed driving one of those trucks and runs over a car and it's 15 years old, that's the main reason I don't drive them, never driven. But you've got to have something that will work for the job.
My point's not that.
Yeah.
My point is, we just need to do a little bit more research in the used part of it, through the sheriff's office, to see if there's vehicles available and other, methods rather than let's go buy a new truck. Particularly in the economy the way it is, there's lots of used vehicles with low mileage on them that are available instead of having to buy a new truck.
The surplus property that we are able to obtain is through all of the armed forces. It comes straight from the federal government. And of course you have to figure into the fact that every department in the United States is bidding for that same equipment whenever it shows up online. We have to show a specific need for it, and then it goes through a state coordinator. Then that state coordinator works with us to make sure that we do have a particular need for a particular type of equipment, and then they either approve it or disapprove it. We've had much more disapproved than we've had approved, and stuff is becoming a lot harder to get. And especially the better the equipment, the fewer miles it's on it, the harder it is to get from the government now. And the state of Tennessee has actually done away with the majority of all of their surplus equipment. They're actually selling most of their equipment, which has really put a hurt on a lot of departments that were gaining state equipment as it was being surplus out.
If you go look at state surplus, some of the stuff they got up there, you'd have to haul it away. We've looked at it in regards to buying some pickup trucks. It is literally, I hate to say it, but it's just junk. It's ready for the scrapyard. Any other discussion?
Just so the folks know, I'm on the Highway Commission, and we ask for several bids whenever we buy a piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Still take too quite depth, and a lot of depth in it, and so I think we're doing the best we can with the money we have available. And I'm sick of death to see the tractor trailer down there that's surplus. It'll haul something just as good as a brand new one, and he probably knows that will be approved by something that size that is available the way it is. So I think we've done a pretty good job on that.
Any other discussion? If not, roll call vote on this.
William Major. George Jerem.
No.
Randall French.
Yes.
Steve Hall. Ray Elliott.
Yes.
Martha Greenfield. Darrell Kingsville.
Yes.
James Van Fleet.
Yes.
Leslie Lewis.
Yes.
Chris Self.
Yes.
Joey Bright.
Yes.
James Pazell.
Yes.
Larry Sykes.
Yes.
Motion passed. Next, you have your grant for your Office from Criminal Justice. This has to do with new fingerprinting machine, and it's a $40-something thousand, $44,000, and I think it's about $11,000 match. I'd like the motion to allow me to go on and sign this and get this off so the Sheriff's Department can get a new fingerprinting machine. Motion is made. Is there a second? And second. Any discussion on this?
Where's the $11,000 coming from?
11,000 is coming from the drug account.
Sir, is there more than one company that offers that product?
There is, and we're gonna actually bid that out.
It'll have to be bid.
What I need, actually, what I'm getting tonight is just your approval to do this grant, and then we'll bid the equipment out and get the best deal that we can get, and of course, that will affect a little bit as to what the match funds are, but all of the matching funds will be coming straight out of the drug fund. It won't come out of the general fund.
And so you'll have requirements or specifications, and you'll take the lowest bid?
Yes. The state actually recommends a particular type of machine to do certain things depending on the trends and the way that the fingerprint analysis is moving into. As I explained in the other meeting the other night, they're going to a new conical type system where you can actually scan both hands at the same time and get the whole hand and the fingerprints. And those are the types of machines we'll be looking at.
So now this is self-contained, you won't have to add any more computers or other equipment once you get this?
We'll disconnect ours, they'll bring it in, hook it up, they'll train on all the software, and then it should be operational from there. It shouldn't be a big ordeal.
Any other discussion?
Seems to me you can make a plastic cast cheaper than using this $44,000 machine. We didn't have a problem with that. But anyway, this is a lot of.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. Next, you have your surplus vehicles at the Sheriff's Department. You have a list of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 of them is Chargers, and 1 of them is an Expedition. I'd like a motion to allow these to be surplus.
So,
Motion is made to surplus those. Is there a second? And seconded. Any discussion? If not, Jim?
The monies from the surplus, where are they gonna go?
Goes back into the general fund.
Do we not make a commitment to the sheriff or go to him?
No, at the, not at the meeting the other night. No, we did not.
When we did our budget, he was gonna try and self-perpetuate the purchase of vehicles. We helped him on that.
I have no quarrel with it going back into the general fund. I understand the situation the county's in, and I have no quarrel with that.
The money needs to go back into the general fund. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion does carry. Next, you have your budget amendments and transfers. First one is your, under the general fund, is your $300,000 into other public health. This is money that we're probably going to be spending toward hopefully purchasing the hospital. It'll probably end up costing us close to that before it's all over with. This will come directly out of our general fund. If we purchase the facility, if we get to the point to where we really purchase it and we borrow the money, then that money will come from the borrowed money. But if we don't, then this money will come directly out of our general fund.
This is over and above the appraisal.
Oh, yes. This hopefully will take care of this appraisal. We've done a title opinion. We've also done our attorney's fees. It's going, hopefully we won't spend all that, but there's a good possibility that we will.
The preponderance is going to the attorney's fees.
It's a big portion that would be going to the attorney's fees. Jim?
My question is, do we need to do this now? Because you told us earlier the general fund was $682,000.
Well,
Do we have any bills?
Here's the thing. These bills, I don't have bills for these, but when they do come in, it needs to be on our books where I'm not out here on a limb. You haven't even appropriated the money. You need to appropriate the money now. We're not going to be spending this tomorrow, but it needs to be on our books to allow us to spend it when we need to. The appraisal, we'll probably have to start paying it pretty fast. But the attorney's fees, we probably won't pay them for a while.
My concern is the fact that we have nothing cemented yet. We're still in limbo on this whole thing. We have a little resolution about okaying $300,000.
Well, you're going to, whether you have reservations or not, you've already committed that you've got attorney's fees, and you're going to be paying attorney's fees. And they are not going to be cheap. These are good attorneys, and we needed them to do the things that we needed to do. But we need to get something on our books. We're out here, you got the county mayor out here trying to negotiate and do contracts and things, and I don't have any money to back that up on our books. I don't want to be put in that position. You need to commit to what we've already done, and we have committed to hire these attorneys, and they're doing an excellent job. If it wasn't for them, I don't know where we would be. So, and we've had to do the appraisal, and I know that's coming up, and we've done a title opinion. We haven't paid for that yet either. So there's several things that are just lingering out there, and we just need to get it on the books. If it doesn't cost us $300,000, we're not going to spend it. We're going to spend whatever we have to. Any other discussion? No, because I'm not spending it right now. No, it wouldn't. If I had to spend it today, it would be a different thing, but I'm not going to have to spend it today. But it gets it on the books, so if it does come up, then I'm covered through the auditor, because I don't have anything on the books to cover this, and we need to get it on the books so that we can. No. No. We won't know this. The attorney's fees will not come up until we probably have finished, and whether we know whether we're going to actually purchase the facility or not. If we don't purchase the facility, then we're going to have attorney's fees that I might have to pay. And if we do purchase it, then that money will go under the note itself, and we won't spend any of this. It'll all be covered under the note. But as far as affecting our payroll and all that, it's not going to affect that at all. It will. It may later on. It's going to, at the end of the year, if we don't finalize this, if we don't buy that facility, we're going to be out close to this amount of money. That's what Houston County has invested to try and keep the hospital, is close to $300,000 out of our general fund. That's my estimate of what it's going to cost. Yes.
Obviously, we've hired attorneys, we have expenses, and I, for one, know that they're worth it. And if they come along and want some of the money that we agreed on, we need to be prepared to
Sure.
make that payment. We don't want to look like we're hedging in any way. We want to look like we're in a position to follow through on our obligations. I think this is only the only way to do business.
It's just prudent business is what it is. Any other discussion? If not, roll call vote. Oh, do I have a motion?
I move we do it.
Second? And second. Any other discussion? If not, roll call vote.
William Major. George Jerem.
Yes.
Randall French. Steve Hall. Ray Elliott.
Yes.
Martha Greenfield. Darrell Kingsville.
Yes.
James Van Fleet.
Yes.
Leslie Lewis.
Yes.
Chris Self.
Yes.
Joey Bright.
Yes.
James Pazell.
Yes.
Larry Sykes.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Motion passed. Next, you have your budget for your fire department. If you remember the surplus sale of the boat and the truck, those sales have been completed. I don't know that we got paid for the truck, but not the boat yet. It has sold, and this is the amount of money that it's sold for. And if you'll remember, that money was to be used to upgrade and do some work on the jaws of life because it's got a lot of problems. And so this is allowing us to take care of that particular business. Motion's made. Is there a second? And seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. Next one, you got your Homeland Security. That's at $1,750, the grant that in regards to Homeland Security. I'd like a motion to approve it. Motion. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. The next one is also Fire Department BIS grant. This is a grant that we've had for some time, I think, and we're just putting it on the books, Dave, with the Fire Department. It's another $1,582.17 grant. I'd like a motion to approve this budget amendment. Motion is made. Is there a second? And seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. Next, you have a budget amendment for paying the health department. This is taking money where we usually have to pay the state of Tennessee $16,410. I've asked them to allow us to keep $2,600 of that to pay the inside of the thing, and they've agreed to that. I just need a budget amendment to take that money to swap it around to where we can use it. I'd like a motion to approve that. Motion is made. Is there a second? And seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. Next, you have on the Highway Department. You can see what's there. One of them's the note, and the other one is some interest on note. I'd like a motion to approve this budget amendment and transfer for the Highway Department. Motion is made. Is there a second? And second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. Next, you have your fingerprinting. This is the grant for the fingerprinting machine. The sheriff has to spend the $4,400 before you get it back, and this money is coming out of the drug fund. So I'd like a motion to approve this budget amendment from the drug fund for the fingerprinting machine. Motion is made. Is there a second? And second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. Next, you have another one on the drug account, and it's pretty obvious. You got it in front of you, what it is. One of them's $5,000, the other one's $10,000. One of them goes to vehicles, the other one goes to supplies. This is just putting stuff in some line items where he can actually spend it from the drug money. He has to have a budget, and this allows him to do some things. Motion is made. Is there a second? And second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. Next, you have your trustees' report, quarterly report, your schools, and your highway quarterly reports. Motion is made to approve the quarterly reports. Is there a second? And second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion does carry. With that, I'd like a motion to adjourn. Motion is made to adjourn. All in favor? Opposed? This meeting stands adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night. This is WCBN Channel 20.